How do we become more observant of the chatty brain, and how do we tell it just to shut up?
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a practice. So a couple of things you can do. One thing is you can work to become more present and in the moment, right? So when the chatty brain is going off and the observing mind notices it, one thing you can do is just take a couple of really deep breaths. And I know that's something that's so overplayed, but it really, really helps. And the technique is key, taking really big belly breaths. Another thing you can do is lean into your senses. When you notice, your mind is going off, you can, what am I seeing? What am I acutely aware of what your five senses. Another way to help leverage, using the observing mind is to start speaking out loud what you're doing. And I know this sounds totally crazy. I lived in an ashram for a year, so I studied under many monks around the world. And this is one of the tips from one of the monks was, let's say you're doing dishes and your chatty mind is going off in all directions, which it does, right? We've all been in situations where we've gone from point A to B and we got to point B and you're like, how on earth did I get here? Or, you're showering or doing the dishes, you're physically somewhere, but you're mentally, somewhere else. So you can start by speaking out loud what you're doing. So let's say you're doing the dishes, your dialogue is going to sound something like, now I'm putting soap on the sponge. Now I'm making circular motions on this pot. Now I'm putting this pot on the drying rack. And slowly, your mind will learn how to kind of catch the chatty mind and move back to the present moment. And even if you're doing the dishes for 20 minutes, you might have to rein your chatty mind in 30 times, right? I think there's a big misconception on mindfulness that you're just present 24/7. That's nearly impossible. I think even for the monks meditating in the mountains. So those are three really good tips: breath, leaning into your senses, and also speaking out loud what you're doing. Those are great ways to become aware of your mind.
Something that and I guess it ties into a lot of those elements. Something that I do as I'm kind of pondering on this inadvertently is if I'm really annoyed about something, if someone's pissed me right off and that chatty brain is going round and round in circles, and it starts off being reasonable maybe, and then you end up down a rabbit hole of how they've ruined your life over just some email or something that is obviously nonchalant and you shouldn't be even giving it any energy. Something that I like to do, something I like to do is just I have a journal. I just have a document, a Word document open on my computer, and I'll write in it and just be like, okay, blah, 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 they're an idiot. And then immediately I get this like switch. I feel it's almost like a physical switch in my body. It switches. It might be a switch from like kind of a parasympathetic to sympathetic nervous system. And immediately I just go, oh, maybe I didn't communicate this effectively. Maybe this and maybe that. And I play devil's advocate with myself. And that's kind of pulling into the three elements that you described there. Just, I guess, another format and another way of doing it.
Yeah, I think it's very personal how we all manage and deal with stress. So as long as you know your triggers, what stresses you, and again, be aware of them, and then how to calm yourself down. Some people like to talk to people. Some people internalize and like to journal. Some people like to go out in nature and go for a walk. So I think having that list of, what are the 5 things I can do when I find myself spiraling is a really great way to just be effective with the stress.